Call to order. Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Yes, ma'am. Dominic, Lyndon Johnson, Jackson, Lynn,
Present.
Bowman, Cawthorn, Gage
Present.
Watts,
Present.
Middleton, Atkins, Chavez,
Here, sir.
Smith, Lewis Johnson.
Present.
We have a quorum, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. We will ask the Honorable Bishop L. Brandon to come up and give us the invocation, and it will be followed by our Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Mike Middleton. Please stand.
Thank you, Madam President, and to the Commission. I do want to reassure you, great seeing each of you. Happy New Year. I do want to reassure you that on Tuesdays at 5:30 in the morning, our intercessory prayer team, do pray with you, pray for you, and we mention you by name individually. Let's look to the Lord. Father, your loving kindness is better than life, and it's in you that we move, we breathe. It's in you that we have our being. And Father, you said if we acknowledge you in all of our ways, you would direct our path. Father, I ask you to bless this commission, and we ask you to use them as they conduct the business of our community, of our parish. And Lord God, I thank you for fruitful conversations and healthy dialogue. Continue to use each of them for your glory. It's in the name of Jesus we pray. We thank you, sir. Amen.
Amen.
Everyone, please face the American flag. Place your right hand over your heart. You're veteran. You have the option of rendering a brow salute and recite with me the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Bishop Brandon, for blessing us with that invocation. Thank you, Commissioner Middleton, for our pledge. We have any agenda additions, Mr. Todd?
We might have one agenda addition, a resolution proclaiming February as American Heart Month.
Okay.
So who's sponsoring it? Yeah.
The sponsor is Bowman and Gage Watts.
Okay.
Yes.
I will
Make the motion.
Second.
Yeah.
Motion
Okay.
to expand.
To expand
We make the motion to expand the agenda and add resolution number 10 of 2019 to our agenda. And it's been seconded by Commissioner,
We need to open it up first for any public comment
okay,
before we vote.
Mario Chavez. We now open our public hearing up. Is there anyone here to speak for resolution number 10 of 2019? Is there anyone here who wishes to speak against resolution number 10 of 2019? I see no one. I declare this hearing closed. Please vote. And that passes 10 with 2 out of the chambers. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Next, we move to citizen comments.
I have none, sir. Do you have any?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Okay, citizens who wish to address the commission on any issue other than zoning, please fill out a comment card located in the chamber foyer and return to the president or the clerk of the commission. Individual comments are limited to 3 minutes. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
We have we have one visitor, excuse me. We have 432 Square Productions regarding Pandarina on the Red River reality TV show.
Please join us. Welcome.
Hey, guys.
Thank you for having us. We're invited here by Stephen Jackson to give you an idea of what's going in your beautiful city. And how can I begin? I guess Pan and I go back a couple of years. We met on Facebook, and she's a native. And she was doing a lot of work here in terms of her work in the catering and restaurant business. And I decided to create a reality adventure show for her on Roku and possibly ABC and Fox right now. I'll give you an idea and get you to take a look at it, what we've done already, and then you can ask some questions about it because we want your support.
Gimme.
This is Pandorina and Michelle.
Whatever the cuisine is around the state of Louisiana in the 64 parishes, we're going to make sure it is the best, the freshest, the most delicious, and we're going to bring it back to Proudberry 360 Grill for patrons, our guests, as I like to call them, who are there so that they can taste the fare and decide if it goes on the menu.
It's a Where did he know you came from? What kind of show is this? I can't have all this in my kitchen.
It's just a romper.
This is a little too much. It's a little romper.
It's a romper.
Oh my God.
No, we having root, not romper.
The next part is going to give you a little idea, a little bit more about what this is about.
I'm Pandorina, Chef Pan to most, the executive chef at Proud Mary 360, located right under the bridge in the Red River Entertainment District of Shreveport, Louisiana, a bridge that connects Shreveport and Bossier City. I'm about to embark on a flavorful journey, one I've been dreaming about all of my life. I'm inviting you to come along. My ancestral roots begin in South Louisiana. I am a product of Creoles of color with strong influences from the Haitian slave trade, French Creole merging bloodlines from the bayous of Louisiana, bred at the hands and feet of generations of family cooks, professional chefs, caterers, restaurant operators, and food industry entrepreneurs, all about Louisiana cooking. You know, we're a cuisine that's a blend of Spanish, French Canadian, and strong African influences. We're Creole, Cajun, and Native American. I love it.
No, you're right. You never will either. This.
I'm traveling the state with my friend, another Louisiana homegrown, or should I say city girl, businesswoman, TV host, news broadcaster, Michelle White Lafitte. Some might say we're an odd couple yet, but I say we go together like night and day, and we're gonna really have some fun, Shay. We're going to try some new recipes, some new twist on old recipes.
Hey, girl. Good to see you. Thanks for having me out here. Oh.
Meet some new friends and share their stories. From the top of the state, where the mighty Red River flows from Texas and Arkansas, and we're going to work our way through this great state just as the river does, winding our way down to south where the river goes into the Gulf. Fascinating encounters in this melting pot of cultures. I'm going to be inspired by their recipes, create a few new ones of my own, and bring it all back to Proud Mary 360. Introducing the dishes to the patrons and friends to get a thumbs up or maybe a thumbs down on how it is plated and certainly how it tastes, Chef.
You're going to catch more of the French. That's going to catch
And you're going to fry it back later. We're Laverne and Shirley meets Anthony Bourdain, Hell's Kitchen meets me, Pandorina, on the red. We'll do some cooking and some tasting and some cutting up too, baby. Exploits that you'll have to see to believe. With the help from my friends, you're about to get some Louisiana good times rolling. I've joined up with this wonderful team to bring together some of the most delectable foods, and just so you know, I'm going to add my special touch to them, Chef. My cast of characters are Christopher B. Pierman, creator, producer, and director. Big Chad, bar manager. Miles, the Prince of Proud Mary. Stanley, restaurant visionary. My co-star, Michelle, marketing PR guru. Nima Tulai, my African muse. And me, Pandarina. My friends and I are going to take you on a fabulous journey. We'll share traditions of Louisiana food, its influences, variety, culture, and spice, and its savories and sweets, my baby. You know, there's a Cajun Creole French expression we have in Louisiana. The only place Creole Cajun French is actually spoken. You've probably heard the saying before, Chef, even if you've never been to Louisiana. It's called Liaisez les bons temps rouler, and it means let the good times roll. So let's roll. I'm going to bring you along this journey here in Louisiana. I'm your tour guide of this culinary adventure. I'm Pandarina on the red. C'est bon.
You like that? Okay. You worked hard, she worked hard. What we're going to do is go from the top of the state to the bottom.
You can speak.
What?
You don't have to speak down it, too.
Okay, well, thank you very much, my brother. So we intend to go from the top of the state to the bottom and show the beauty of the cuisine and food and culture of Louisiana, but more importantly here in Shreveport, where it's originating from. And we're looking to have some economic beauty happening down at the Red River District, and we thought this would be a wonderful opportunity and vehicle for the world to be able to see it. My experience goes back, my daughter's Raven Simone from The Cosby Show to That's So Raven, so I've been directing for quite some time. And I came here to this city, number one, to help this young lady show her talents to the world. But not only that, in coming here and seeing how beautiful this city is and what it can, the possibilities that it has, I think with this show, the world will be able to see it in a different light. And hopefully you can see the opportunity through this also.
Mr. Pierman, thank you so much for that wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
I know we have one commissioner on board who had something to say. I'm sure some other ones will also, but I'm grateful for the exposure of Caddo Parish, just showing a glimpse to the world of what we're all about, music, food. You know, that is a part of our culture.
Exactly.
That's where we get the fun from. Once we get to eating and
Right.
dancing, it's all a part of what Caddo Parish is truly about. So I just want to thank you for bringing that insight here. I did not know that Raven Simone was your daughter.
Yeah, and she's and her grandmother is from Winfield, Louisiana.
Awesome.
So coming to Shreveport or Alexandria, I mean, she went to Southern University. So this has always been kind of home. It's so odd that I ended up back here to do this, coming from LA. But I think that is the most unique cuisine in the country,
Yes.
and it should be shown.
Yes,
And,
I agree.
We'd just like to participate and help build Shreveport and show it in a different light.
Good. You make me feel just a little bit better about seeing Raven Simone on my TV 24 hours a day with my children at home, because that's all they watch.
30 years. Girl.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Thank you all for coming down, and let me first say thank you for taking a chance on Shreveport, Louisiana. I've often told folks the history of that location was a steakhouse, and I was there in the room when the big names like Dragos said, we want to come out of New Orleans and find us another location outside of New Orleans. And they said, well, we can't make it work because the ceilings are too high and the space is too large. We just need something a little smaller. And then Papa Do's came and looked at that same location. I was in the room. I was over at the airport. We actually met at the boardroom at Shreveport Regional Airport. And so a lot of people have come to try to make that location work, and to see some homegrown local talent here with Stan and Miles. Miles, a recent 2018, 17 Southern University graduate, HBCU, born and raised right here, entrepreneur, minority owned, operated, managed. So I want to thank y'all for taking a chance on Shreveport and downtown Shreveport as we try to create a more vibrant destination for downtown Shreveport.
I think what's important to note,
Sure.
too, is that the power of what a successful show can do is incredible.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you look at Cheers, even though they didn't shoot at that bar, everybody's at
Everybody's
the bar.
looking for it.
We're looking to make this a community, even the businesses, and they've agreed to be with it. We will do some shooting in there. So people, has anybody been to City Walk in California? If you're not, okay.
Universal Studios.
Hey, right, and you notice how it's set up, and sort of like the Red River District is set up like that too. So when tourists come in and they're seeing this show, they're going to say, "Oh my God, fully stacked," or Nicky's, and I may see them, or always give them this opportunity to see the lights and the cameras going to bring some excitement and electricity to that district. I know that the Lieutenant Governor came to meet us, and he's given us his blessing, and all of the other businesses around hopes that this can happen. We feel that it's important that the Caddo Parish should get behind her. You know, this is family, and to be honest with you, I did come here for her, and hopefully everybody can see the opportunity and the potential here. We do have a 501c3 that is attached that we're going to be giving Southern University and Booker T. Washington scholarships, mentorships, allowing that media department to be mentored by my company, our company, to learn on-the-job training. You can learn a lot through a book, but it's nothing like on-the-job training. I learned how to direct from The Cosby Show or Hanging with Mr. Cooper or all these shows and movies that we've been on. And I think it's important, too, that if they graduate, that instead of moving outside of Shreveport, that we can create productions here in Shreveport that they can stay and do their thing.
Right. Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Do you know, are y'all taking advantage of the film tax credits, state and local
Yes,
film
we
tax
are
credit?
looking at that, yes, Mr. Jackson.
Okay, so, and I want to remind you that the most important thing is that I think you have to do the advance notification prior to doing it, so
Yes,
make
sir.
sure you fill out that
We have
advance
applied.
notification. So do that. And also, are y'all in touch with the Angel Investor Fund? I don't know if I'm told that they vet a variety of projects from hospitality to medical to trucking to oil and gas. So I don't know if we can get them in touch with those angel investors, or with BRF, with Dave Smith over there. Yeah, Dave Smith. There may be an opportunity to find some investors to invest in your production.
Now, what we have that's very interesting in this scenario, and I've been in this business for quite some time, is that with our platform in terms of Samsung TV, Amazon, and Roku,
Okay.
is that we are in command of our advertising, and sponsorship, and that's what we're looking for too. As far as businesses, we're in talks with TV Fox here. That's interesting, putting us on. And so what's important is to be able to get local businesses and to be able to advertise or to sponsor to show the support of the community.
Well, definitely want, because I know a lot of productions need that investor capital or
Right.
investor support. So I don't know if this is something in their wheelhouse, but maybe if they just want to sit down and have a conversation with Dave and those guys to see how they can help.
This is Michelle, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, we do know the Michelle White.
Yes, please
Lafitte.
join us. Michelle, welcome.
But thank y'all for what you're doing in downtown. Just happened to be in District 3, and I've eaten there, and so I enjoy a meal every time I come. I enjoy riding by, seeing the lights on and the activity taking place in there. So this is great to have in Caddo Parish, and if my colleagues have not gone by to eat, Commissioner Lewis Johnson say the next meal is on him.
Well, if Mrs. Johnson.
With Dr. Wilson's credit card.
Michelle, take care.
With Dr. Wilson's credit card.
Nah. Yes, I would.
That's it for me, Madam
But you
President.
have it.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Lynn Carthorne.
Yes, well, thank you guys for coming out this evening
Thank
and
you.
showing us your vision and what it is you're trying to do. I just have a couple of questions for
Sure.
you so I can get some clarity for myself. Do you guys have a launch date, or this is more of a concept that you guys are pitching?
After we shot that, we're currently now going to start production for our first episode.
Okay.
We have the control of when we launch.
Okay.
So because of the platforms that we're on, it's so important for us to be self-producing.
I got
Right, you see what I'm
I
saying?
got you.
And so we're in that, we're gathering the support of the state. I know that we've got the Bureau of Tourism here in Shreveport.
Right.
They're 100% behind us. They're whatever, they say that you need and so forth like that. So we're taking it in steps. And we're getting the right strategic partners around it. Once we are able to have our episodes down, then we begin to launch.
And I think I understand your concept of including the whole state, because Louisiana is about 3 states all in one,
That's right.
culturally, cuisine. But I think it's a beautiful concept that you get a chance to show, to encapsulate the entire state of Louisiana and show the diversity of it. But from north to south, we are beginning to eat all the same.
Oh, absolutely.
That kind of thing.
And when
So
I
like that
came,
concept.
and obviously our history with coming to Louisiana, it's the most unique cuisine around. And there was no need for me, I thought, to go outside of it. I mean, you can do a whole series just from northern Louisiana or southern Louisiana. And the key is we're going to involve the people. The people are going to be writing in, asking for her to come so they can have her experience her recipes or their stories or their culture. So we want the people of Louisiana to be highlighted in this project, to show them their love for their own food and cuisine. So it's almost like a little Andrew Bourdain,
Exactly.
but specifically for Louisiana.
And
And
then
it's shot out of Shreveport. And I think
Then
that's
it'll give
powerful.
Shreveport, it'll help to blend Shreveport more into that whole Louisiana culture thing. So
right.
people don't see us as a part of Texas anymore.
Right. Right.
Thank you.
May I add this? Any of you, council members, who have family members and anywhere around the state who cook well, please let me know, let us know. And we would see if they would be incorporated in it, It could be mom and pop alley. It doesn't have to be a specific restaurant or something like that. It doesn't have to be everything in the French Quarter or in Faubourg Marigny in the outskirts. It could just be, an FM2 road, you know what I mean? Someone who cooks really well.
No, we just want to keep it real and show a different light and a classy light for this wonderful city. And we hope you can see the vision, we hope you can see the dream, and we hope that you can become a strategic partner with us. We would appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I'm not wringing a chicken's neck.
Okay, before you all leave,
You're
I
going to
need,
get some pigs. You're going to.
I'm not too.
Yes, you're going to get
I've
the
never
before you
done
all
that.
leave, Commissioner Jackson said that Commissioner Louis Johnson was buying lunch, but I've heard that it's your birthday today. So happy birthday, and I think that dinner is on you tonight.
Happy birthday to you.
That's so real. Happy. Well, in that case, thank you, Madam President, but in that case, Bishop Brandon is carrying the towel.
Thank you all for
big.
coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President.
I see no further discussion. Mr. Clerk, next item, please.
We have no special resolutions. Next, we need to adopt the regular session minutes from January 7th.
So moved.
It's been moved by Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson. That was second by Commissioner Louis Johnson. No discussion, please vote. And that passes 11-0, one out of the chamber.
Next, we move to communiques and committee reports. Administration response to information requests from commissioners. No, we don't have anything to do.
Nothing, Dr. Wilson? Commissioner Stephen Jackson.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I did get, I hadn't had a chance to read it, but Kelvin, I did get your report, and I just hadn't had a chance to read it, but thank y'all for keeping your eyes on that for me. Appreciate it. That's it, Madam President.
That's it? Okay, thank you. Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson.
Thank you, Madam President. We did have a long-range committee meeting Monday, and that basically was covering some of the UDC amendments that have been through the MPC and the City Council. From that, basically what we're doing, our plan of action is to take some of those amendments by certain areas and then have meetings basically probably every month until we knock it all out, because there are a lot of amendments out there and there's some more that will be coming right behind this. So we want to stay ahead of the game and not fall too far behind. on whether we're gonna pass or reject those amendments that they have already passed. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I have one also. Today we had in Government Plaza Chamber Standing Committee, and we met to discuss the barriers that you see here in the chambers that prevents wheelchair accessibility. And after comments and talking about our customary hospitality, sometimes that is, I guess, an unwritten rule of allowing guests into these spaces, we came up with a decision not to actually have stanchions, but to have signage that says it's for elected officials and staff only. That is the way that we plan on addressing that issue, and that way it's not exclusive to anyone. It's something that's inclusive, and as always, we always come down and address the audience. Anyone who wants to talk to us, we are here, and so that door is still open. And that is the only meeting that we had today for me. I see no one else. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
President's report.
Okay, I have a pretty lengthy one. First of all, let me start in giving you some updates on the Washington lobbying event, the Mardi Gras that officially kicked off Louisiana-style Mardi Gras in Washington, D.C. on last week. It went down as the largest that has ever been held in history of participants. Caddo Parish was even chosen for an interview given by yours truly. The KSLA Washington Bureau reached out to me, and I had the honor of sharing our importance of Caddo being at the table and representing us. How we are sometimes often forgotten on a state level, and why is it so important for North Louisiana to be there. So this year I proudly said that we're not on the menu, we're at the table. The Sounds of Success Economic Development Luncheon was absolutely phenomenal. We were greeted from Louisiana delegation, Senator John Kennedy, Congressman Cedric Richmond, Mike Johnson, Gary Graves, just to name a few of them who were in attendance. Our governor, John Bell Edwards, the Treasurer of the United States, who signs your money, was there. The Police Jury Association, Roland D'Artes and Eric Sawyer represented. The hot topics were about our opportunity zones. Senator Bill Cassidy made sure that he gave us a lot of information about how it is so important for Louisiana to be in one language, to speak one language, about the places that we are, certainly about the presentation that we got today, about our arts and our cultures and our jobs. We talked about the new flood bill, the CDBG funds that are available to assist with opportunity zones, the pre-existing conditions, and kids get to stay on their parents' insurance until the age of 26. The locals and state universities were there. I saw Southern University Shreveport was there, LSUS, our former Senator Mary Landrieu was there, and we had a very inspirational message from the CEO and founder of Waiter, who is now $800 million corporation. It made me realize how important it is to support local businesses and to believe in them and allow them to have a chance with us backing them. Someone who started as what he thought himself to be a failure, that he planned not to even be an entrepreneur anymore, and went to some investors and was looking for $100,000 and ended up with $26 million, and now today he's an $800 million company 4 years later. I also wanted to share with you all that 59 of the 61 years, Louisiana has had the most Grammy nominees per capita right here. So that is another thing that I'm very proud of. We talked about Lake Pontchartrain, making it a resort by adding cabins to it. Senator Scalise was there, and his resilience is amazing, guys. To me, is like a hero for Louisiana, because he didn't quit in the face of adversity, but he pressed on, and to just watch him, even without his canes, he was well engaged with everyone, and he's a great investment to this state of Louisiana. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser, of course, he promotes Louisiana tourism anywhere he is, and it was a field day for him. There's even a website that you can visit, mardigras.louisianatravel.com. And one thing I don't want to forget. I called Doug while I was gone because Caddo Parish did not have any representation on the court all those beautiful princes, and Doug has a beautiful daughter, if y'all don't know. I had the opportunity of judging in one of the pageants, so Caddo was not represented, and that was kind of disappointing to me. We had two princes from Shreveport, Elaine Seabaugh and Colvin Pruitt, that represented as the princess, but we have a festival queen too in Morrisport. Is that correct? Is that the only one that we have?
As far as,
Festivals
oh no.
that has pageants?
Oh no, Redbud and Vivian has a pageant, they have them in Little City, so we got a lot.
Okay, so we need to represent.
Of course, that's in Bossier, but.
Yes. And that is it on my
They have one in,
president's report.
The Poke Salad and Blanchard has it, so all of those festivals usually has pageants.
Well,
I don't know how they get to, you know, imagine it's a lot of funds and stuff to get raised up to go there.
Of course. What, the funds sit here.
Yeah, I got you.
That is it. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Next item, please.
Next, we move to public hearing on ordinances. Ordinance number 5841 of 2019, authorizing emergency aid to those who were affected by the April 2018 tornadoes.
Okay. I declare this public hearing open. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of ordinance number 5841 of 2019? Is there anyone here willing to speak against ordinance number 5841 of 2019? I see none in either. I declare this ordinance number 5841 closed.
Next, we move to ordinance number 5850 of 2019, declaring certain adjudicated properties to be surplus and authorize the parish administrator or designee to sell the parish of Caddo's tax interest in certain surplus adjudicated properties.
Okay. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of ordinance number 5850? Is there anyone here to speak against ordinance number 5850? I see none. I declare ordinance number 5850 closed.
Ordinance 5851 of 2019, declaring certain adjudicated properties to be surplus and authorize the parish administrator or designee to sell the parish of Caddo's tax interest in certain surplus adjudicated properties.
Okay. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of ordinance number 5851 of 2019? Is there anyone here to speak against ordinance number 5851 of 2019? I see none. I declare this ordinance number 5851 closed.
Ordinance number 5852, declaring certain adjudicated properties to be surplus and authorize the parish administrator or designee to sell the parish of Caddo's tax interest in certain surplus adjudicated properties.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of ordinance number 5852? Is there anyone here to speak against ordinance number 5852?
Are we still in public hearing? I mean,
We're still in public hearing.
which one we on?
5852. You want to speak?
No.
I see none. I declare this public hearing closed on ordinance number 5852.
Next, we move to ordinances for final passage. Ordinance number 5841 of 2019, authorizing emergency aid to those who were affected by the April 2018 tornadoes.
Move to adopt.
Second. Okay. I see one, Commissioner Lyndon Johnson, would you like to speak on your motion?
I'll yield right now.
You'll yield? Okay. Commissioner Dominic?
I have a substitute motion. I would like to amend ordinance number 5841. I have placed at everyone's table the amended language. And in particular, if you'll read on paragraph 5, I want to add that in there. Be it further ordained that contractors will submit itemized estimates for the scope of work to be completed on each property, itemized invoices for completed properties and certification that all building permits were pulled prior to the commencement of work. Also, the next paragraph will be added. Be it further ordained that these funds will only be used for owner-occupied homes that have been adjudicated. And I don't have this written down, but I would also like the amendment to basically state where it talks about the money to be at a maximum of $150,000. It says $150,000 increments. I would like for it to be a maximum of $150,000.
Second.
Okay, that motion has been made by Commissioner Doug Dominic, and that was second by Commissioner John Atkins.
Can I speak on the motion?
Commissioner Dominic.
Yeah,
you still have the floor.
I know that Commissioner Chavez and Commissioner Lynn and I both met and went over some of this with Donna and looked at some of the prior contracts. There was 32 homes. 8 of those, I'm talking about the first time, 8 of those were adjudicated or went to a tax sale. We had issues with that. Therefore, that is the language that we want to make sure that it is owner-occupied homes that have not been adjudicated. And we really don't want it to be lease property. We were actually fixing up a landlord's property on some issues. There was no itemized estimates in detail on what was done. It seemed like we didn't look at all the contracts, and I know Commissioner Lynn was pulling out a few, and I pulled out a few, and Mario pulled out a few, but each one of those seemed to be at the maximum amount. And when you looked at it, we're like, really? This doesn't look like it would be $15,000. Commissioner Chavez made a couple of phone calls. I know Commissioner Lynn and Commissioner Chavez both have more knowledge about me than I do in construction, but I can sit there and look at that and even tell. I know Commissioner Chavez made a couple of phone calls asking about what, estimate on a roof would be for what they were saying. It was not what appeared to be on the paper, the estimates. We just have some concerns, and we think there needs to be better oversight. I think that it was kind of limited to the Queensboro area, but I've been told there's at least one of these houses that are on the list that is in Colquitt area, Colquitt Road, out in Commissioner Jim Smith's area. So Jim's getting in on it. I guess he may like that. But the other thing is we have concerns about, it should be storm related, and it seemed like even there was things that were being fixed up on the documents that we looked at that were not or should have not have been storm related. So therefore, I would ask that everyone, if we're going to do this, at least put some controls, and that's what we kind of came up with. I will finish by saying this. I really don't like this, but this if we're going to do something, we need to have some better controls. So I would ask for y'all to support this motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Dominic. Before I go to the next speaker, I just want to remind everyone that we have a motion on the floor, and we need to be mindful of that. Make sure that your subject is germane to this motion. Commissioner John Atkins.
Thank you, Madam President. I support Commissioner Dominic's proposed amended motion. I, too, have reviewed the files. I share many of the observations that Commissioner Dominic pointed out. And importantly, I think it's important that we cap this at $150,000. Initially, the request was I believe, $300,000. But it appears that there were 15 homes that were originally on the list that the Red Cross contacted for review in January. And of those 15, 3 didn't respond, so those are off the list. We're now down to 12. And of the 12, 3 of those were tabulated by the Red Cross to be minor repair, which has a $5,200 roughly max, and 9 were major repair, which has a $7,300 or so max. So roughly $17,000 max. So if you take the 5 that were minor and multiply it by the roughly $5,000 max, that's $15,000, and then you take the $17,000 that were considered more major repairs and multiply it by 9, and you add all that together and assume not everybody spends the max. $150,000 should be more than enough to get the work done that needs to be done for these citizens who have experienced a natural disaster. I think Commissioner Dominic's point about proper oversight and documentation certainly will help to ensure that we stay within our limits. So thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson.
Thank you, Madam President. I don't really have a problem with the dollar amount, but when we start talking about the owner-occupied homes, Donna, as I can recall, that in order for the homes to be fixed, it has to be done by the property owner and not the renter in the first place. And then the property owner has to meet a income qualification. So if they exceed that amount, then they already automatically are out of the program. Well, that's what we did in the floods of 15 and 16. We did that with Well Island Road folks that came down there.
That's not what was done.
Okay, so we had some people from Wells Island Road that was renters, and we had some people who owned those trailers that tried to get them fixed. They couldn't get them fixed because their income surpassed our limits.
If your income surpasses the limit, then nobody is eligible. However, the income that is looked at is that of the person who's actually living in the house and going to be moving back into the house after the repairs.
Okay, so if we're looking at the person who is renting the house, then this paragraph does not work, because it says that you're looking at the owner, the person who's the landlord.
Well, no, it that works because you're only fixing the house of the people who own. You're not fixing any renters' houses, so you're basically striking a category of people who may have gotten work done that are not going to be getting work done anymore. If you don't own, if the person doesn't own the house and that person meet the income requirement, then that person will not be eligible for any assistance.
So going back to what we did at Wells Island Road.
That was not what was done at Wells Island Road, but that's what we're going to.
Okay, well, I remember those people that were down here, and they talked about that, and there was a long discussion about it, so that's why I bring that up. The other one that you talked about, okay, so you're gonna make them pull permits and itemize expenses and all that, and then who's gonna watch that, and who's gonna say that this is right, this is wrong? And then who's gonna look at the labor costs and see if the labor is adequate? Who's gonna do all this?
I'll turn it over to Donna, but I think that would be ultimately up to Mr. Guidry and his group, is that correct?
Basically, it would, but what's going to happen is that having those requirements in there, and if they certify that the permits were pulled, this was the scope of work that was completed, and the invoices are itemized, they're still going to turn that over to Mr. Guidry, but if there's an irregularity in what is being turned over, then payments may be withheld, or if for some reason a payment is not withheld, then it can be forwarded to us to take a look at.
We'll have
I
access.
still got the floor.
I know, but you
Well, but then you
asked me, I
passed it to her, so
Yeah, but
she answered. So now I got a follow-up question to her.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So basically, you're gonna say that they gonna turn in an itemized deal on materials. All right. So I think from what I was told from the discussion and what they looked at, they have more of a problem with the labor costs.
Well,
So
no,
is there a limit on labor costs? Because if not, you're gonna end up with the same kind of situation.
The limit on labor costs is, or the limit on materials and labor costs is at $17,000 or whatever wherever they fall on the minor and major cap.
I got that part.
And there's always been a submission of an itemized list of materials.
Always been there.
You get the itemized list because they of course have to pay for them, and they don't pay the contractors for that. CCAA pays for materials directly. But what you get, I guess the control to take a look at the labor costs is you get an itemized scope of labor, and then you get an itemized invoice telling you, I guess, how many hours, how many crew members, and whatnot worked on a particular project and at what rate.
Okay, so all we're doing is requiring them to do extra paperwork.
Requiring the contractors to do extra paperwork, yes.
Right. Okay. That's all I got. I mean, this is for the good of the people in the Queensboro area, but to change the game in midstream, I think it's kind of crazy, but that's fine and dandy. Just make sure that when we move forward and we want to change the game in midstream, that I hear no resistance. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Lyndon B. Johnson. Vice President Chavez.
Thank you, President. There's an old saying, act in haste, repent in leisure. And I think in this scenario, we're kind of stuck in that situation where it was an emergency and we had to jump the gun and get these people to help. But after doing so and doing our due diligence, looking back at the files, we realized the irregularities which we needed to get on top of and start tightening up. And I do agree with you that sure, the labor can be skewed and that the contractors can do whatever they want to, I don't want to say commit fraud like they're going to do that, but we're trying to stop that. So as long as we have some policies in place, now we're able to say we still want to help those people, but we also want to make sure that we're also helping the taxpayers where these funds are coming from to make sure that we did our due diligence. So I'm definitely for this amendment. I appreciate you guys for bringing this up because the people in Queensboro did need the help, but I felt that there was a lot of situations where as soon as there was available funds, that a lot more people raised their hand and said, oh, we also had this situation come about, which I don't necessarily think may have been storm damage. So I think this will help to get the last 13 houses complete that need the repairs, that need the help, and then we can learn from this going forward. So Commissioner Dominic, thanks for bringing this amendment, and Commissioner LBJ, thanks for bringing the initial one. That's all, President.
Thank you, Vice President Chavez. Commissioner Lynn Cawthorn.
Yes, I just want to quickly chime in, and the additional amendments that we're adding to the process, this has been communicated to the Community Action Agency in terms of oversight and the additional oversight, the additional work that you want those guys to do. That's been communicated to them?
Not yet.
Okay. Because the only reason I pose that if, you know, we essentially change in midstream, and if it becomes a little bit more onerous for them to be able to monitor this, maybe they may or may not want to do it. But if it's a seamless transaction, maybe it's not.
Donna, can you answer that?
The additional work, it's been communicated to them that there may be a possibility that these requirements would be added. I don't know if that would lead to any trepidation on their part about continuing the program, but that the possibility that these things would be added has been communicated to them.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Cawthorn. Commissioner John Atkins.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to remind all my colleagues that there was much reservation about supporting this third round of aid by many of us here on the body. We're trying to work with everybody and make something happen to help some people out that need some help to get their houses back into shape. So let's not forget our end goal here. There's roughly 12 or 13 homes that need assistance. The oversight for those 12 or 13 homes, in my mind, is certainly going to be manageable. So let's not let the small get in the way of the large. We're ready to move forward. Let's go ahead and move forward on this amendment and try to help these people out. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Commissioner Atkins. Attorney Frazier.
That was what I wanted to address.
Thank you. Commissioner Dominic, second time around.
Donna, just one quick question. One thing I added to this, I could do that from the floor, just say the maximum amount to be $150,000. That's completely okay?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody has the ordinance in front of you. The only change that you don't have is where it says, which I did make this motion a while ago, where it says where we reported to the Caddo Parish Commission in $150,000 increments that will say be reported to the Caddo Parish Commission with to be in a maximum amount of $150,000. Okay.
Mr. Clerk, would you read that motion, please?
The amendment was that be it further ordained that contractors will submit itemized estimates for the scope of work to be completed on each property, itemized invoices for completed properties, and certification that all building permits were pulled prior to the commencement of work. Also, be it further ordained that these funds will be only used for owner-occupied homes that have not been adjudicated. The agency will use funds to assist Caddo Parish citizens based on need with short-term rental assistance, short-term housing, and minor home repairs. And then be it further ordained that the assistance to citizens affected by the April 2018 tornadoes will be reported to the Caddo Parish Commission at a maximum of $150,000 increment of funds used.
That's the wording that
I
I
don't know
was,
if that increment should actually be there anymore. It should be
okay.
removed.
That's the wording I was looking for.
Maximum $150,000 of funds.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Stephen Jackson.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. So if the $150,000 is the maximum, do we have a cap on per home, or is that to be determined by Caddo Community Action Agency?
The cap is per home determined based on whether the assessment was minor, major, or destroyed.
And how much on the homes that were completed, how much do we know average or maximum?
The maximum on those homes were, was the $17,000 cap. I believe, the assessment for those homes, 29 were reported as major, and you had maybe 3 minor, or something, something to that effect. The vast majority of them were reported as major.
And so can somebody tell me, we didn't have the specification for owner occupied, but we did discuss that, what if somebody was renting? I don't think that was not discussed.
What happened is, we've kept the same agreement from the very beginning, from when we started this with I believe the first one was in 2015 with some tornado damaged properties in North Caddo Parish. We've kept the same agreement. And what was done is the income of the renter was looked at determining eligibility and whether or not that person was going to be moving back into their house. And if that person was going to be moving back in their house, even if they were a renter, work was done on their
So we've
home.
always done work on somebody's rent house, basically.
We have,
Okay.
up until now.
Just wanted to, so this would stop that?
This will stop that.
I guess my question is, why now? And that's for
Only
whoever.
thing I would say at point of order, we should be calling for a vote, because the president called for the vote. Just asked for the reading of the motion, so.
Nobody called
we
for the
shouldn't
question.
We should not have continued to debate. It should have been, should
Nobody.
have been voting before.
I
Commissioner
apologize.
Jackson.
Well, I apologize, Commissioner. I didn't hear a call for the question. I didn't hear anybody call
She
for the
didn't call for
question.
the question.
No, I didn't.
She called for the reading of the motion, which means we were fixing to vote on it, because no one else was on the board.
Thank you. The reason why I called for the reading of the motion, it was to add the wording of maximum, because it wasn't
That was to get
included.
clarification.
That's it. That's all I was asking for at that time.
Okay.
I mean, if anybody could answer that for me, attorney, or why, is there a reason why now
think
we're going to own it?
One of the main reason is that we had 8 houses that were adjudicated on the original 32. They were adjudicated, and I think, I don't know how to say this, it was a little heartburn for me, Commissioner Chavez, Commissioner Lynn, that we were fixing houses where they couldn't even pay their taxes, and I think 1 or 2 may have been sold at a tax sale, if I remember correctly.
And then we had a situation where.
And then the other issue that brought up was, we're fixing houses and paying money for a landlord. Why don't he have insurance?
It's an investment property.
You know, it was just a little heartburn there for, we feel bad for the guy that's renting the house, that's living there, but we just increased the value of a landlord's house just so the renter could continue to live there.
So do we know if we've done some rental properties
Think so?
previously?
Rental properties previously have not been excluded. I do not know if in the 2015 tornadoes or the 2016 floods, it's not been researched
Right.
whether any of those properties were
Right.
adjudicated or landlord.
And I know we had the discussion about what if somebody is renting, and I 100% agree with you about the not been adjudicated. Where I'm sort of having reservation with this language is it has to be owner occupied. If we have not done owner occupied before, why now? So, I agree with your intention here, especially on the adjudicated piece, because we shouldn't be doing that. But if we have not done the owner, if we have not had the owner occupied provision in prior to, well, all of a sudden today, that's what I'm trying to
Well,
get to.
I mean, I just explained it the best I could.
I got
so-
you. I appreciate it.
I think Tim Weaver, are you here? Mr. Weaver? Yeah, it seems like, Mario, do you remember, it seems like, well, there was some rental properties
Okay.
that were fixed.
We're gonna have one speaker at a time. Commissioner Jackson has the floor.
I'm done with my question.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam
If you want to
President.
speak, get on the board, please. Commissioner Middleton.
Call for the question.
Second. Question has been called by Commissioner Middleton. Second by the chair. Please vote.
On the amendment. On the question. Sorry.
We're voting on calling the question.
Thank you. You do. I just can't get.
Okay, that passes 11 with one out of the chamber. Now we're voting
On the amendment.
on the amendment. Does anyone need to hear the reading again?
No.
Everyone's comfortable with it. Please vote. And that passes 11 to, I'm sorry, 10 to 1. Next item.
Actually, we have to now move to the first question and
As
pass
amended.
or
Okay, we have a point of order.
This has to be adopted as
As
amended,
amended,
which
that's
is, I
correct.
think, is what Mr. Hopkins was saying.
Okay.
Do I need to make a motion to that?
No,
No.
you already have your original motion of,
You just gotta vote on it.
Okay.
we
All
just have
right,
to vote.
we're voting on to adopt as amended.
That's correct.
Please vote. And that passes 10 to 1. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Next, we move to ordinance number 5850, declaring certain adjudicated properties to be surplus and authorize the parish administrator or designate to sell the parish's tax interest.
So move for adoption.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Stephen Jackson, and it was second by Commissioner John Atkins. Commissioner Jackson, would you like to speak on your motion?
Yes, I just wanted to clarify we're donating this. It's an amendment. If I can get a second, that we're actually donating, not selling.
Second.
Did I answer your question, Commissioner?
Or do I need to make that in the form of a motion?
No. I mean, you had a question whether it's being donated or not? Is that your
Right.
question?
Because this one is supposed to be donated to this one.
Mr.
the one-
Whittington?
Yeah, Julie, come on up.
Says sell, man.
Yes, after the ordinance was introduced, the people decided they'd like to proceed with the donation route. All we're doing is trying to get it declared surplus.
Absolutely. So Donna, would we need to change the language here, or is that something after the fact? I just want to make sure we're good on our procedures here. Because it is an ordinance. I don't want anybody.
Actually, I would, change the sale language
To donate.
to a donation.
Right. So I made that motion.
I seconded by the chair.
Okay. That's it.
All right.
Okay. Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson.
I got a point of clarification first, and then I will make a motion. The other two, are they sale or donation?
Well, I'm gonna postpone the second one. And the other one will be sale. Correct.
Okay. I would like to englobe ordinance 5850 and 5852 for advance, well, to adopt.
Second.
As amended with the wording on 5850 from sale to donation.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson and second by Commissioner Mike Middleton. Commissioner Johnson, you want to speak on your motion?
No.
Thank you. Commissioner Dominic.
So I'm trying to get this clear. 5850 and 5852, is that correct?
Yes.
5851 is going to be pulled, is that correct?
Well, we postponed, not
Postponed.
pulled.
Can we legally donate that?
You all have a process for donation. It's my understanding that, I guess the person or entity that's interested in that meets those eligibility requirements.
They're a nonprofit church or something?
Yes.
And if I'm correct, if I remember, Stephen, they're gonna meet that?
Correct.
Yes.
So for us to donate, we should be okay because they will have to meet those requirements that allows for a donation. You just can't do donating property to an individual, but
No.
I think that the application was a church, a 501c3, correct?
Correct.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you,
Community
Commissioner
development.
Dominic. Commissioner Stephen Jackson?
Good.
Good. I see no further discussion. Please vote.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes, let it come up.
Once one more time, sir.
Is that what you want, sir? Yeah, yes.
Let the record reflect Mr. Smith, a yes vote.
Okay. The record reflects that it passes 11-0.
Thank you, Mark.
That was too good, wasn't it?
Right, Mr. Clerk?
Next, we move to ordinance number 5851 of 2019, declaring certain adjudicated properties to be surplus and authorize the parish administrator or designee to sell the parish of Caddo's tax interests.
Oh, we're motion to postpone.
Second.
It's been moved, made a motion to postpone by Commissioner Stephen Jackson, and that was second by Commissioner Doug Dominic. Commissioner Jackson, are you in the queue?
I shouldn't be.
Okay, I think we're stuck. Okay, got it.
Jimmy, I'll get
We're
with you so we can move these
Okay,
next
no
one.
discussion, please vote.
This doesn't have to be reintroduced, does it?
If you're postponing it, no.
Okay.
Okay, when are you postponing it to?
Just till the next meeting.
Till the next regular session?
Okay, and that passes 11-0. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Next, we move to zoning ordinance for introduction. Zoning case P519 in regards to ordinance number 5853, amending the zoning of property located on the north side of East 409 Lucas, approximately 1,000 feet east of Ellaby Road, from R17 Single Family Residential District to C1 Neighborhood Commercial Plan Unit Development District. Public hearing and final passage will be February 21st. Next, we move to ordinances for introduction by title, ordinance number 5854, amending the budget of estimate revenues and expenditures for the capital outlay fund in the amount of $79,180 to provide an appropriation to add an additional boiler at the health unit. Public hearing and final passage, February 21st. Next, we need to ratify the minutes from February 4th.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by, was that Commissioner Lynn Carthon?
Yes.
And second by Commissioner Stephen Jackson. Please vote. That passes 11-0. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Next, we move to resolutions. Resolution number 6 of 2019, authorizing the Caddo Community Action Agency to administer the Head Start program.
I make a motion that we englobo resolution number 6, authorizing Caddo Community Action Agency to administer the Head Start program. Resolution number 8, concerning authorizing the Pine Hill Waterworks District for the issuance of the bonds. Resolution number 9, proclaiming February School-Based Healthcare Awareness Month, and the one that's added, the resolution number 10, declaring, I can't remember, it's Heart Awareness Month?
Declaring
Second.
American Heart Month.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved to englobo resolutions number 6, 8, 9, and 10,
Second.
and the appointment of the Caddo Water District 8, and second by the chair. I see Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson.
I still want the clerk to read resolution number 8 because of its importance.
Would you like it read now?
Yes, he can read it now.
Okay.
Before we vote.
Thank you.
Resolution number 8 of 2019, authorizing the Pine Hill Waterworks District, number 8 of the Parish of Caddo, State of Louisiana, to proceed with the issuance of its not to exceed $750,000 of revenue refunding bonds in one or more series providing certain terms of said bonds, making application to the State Bond Commission for approval of said bonds, appointing bond counsel, independent registered municipal advisor, selection of a purchaser, and providing for other matters in connection therewith.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, Commissioner Stephen Jackson?
Yes. Dr. Wilson, I assume the young man sitting here on the crowd is the bond attorney on this one? Namdi, is this? Oh, okay. Oh, but you the financial advisor?
Right.
Homegrown?
Yes.
Glad we got somebody homegrown. Well, both, but I know Namdi has kind of moved away and come back, so that's good to see, and thank you for it. I know a lot of times we bring folks in, so I didn't see Mike sitting on the other side of the thing there.
Mr. Basada?
Right, I didn't see him. I didn't even see him sitting over there, but good to see some homegrown local folks doing this work. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. I see no further discussion. Please vote. And that passes 11-0. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
We have no old business. We move to new business. Approval of the 2019 audit schedule.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner John Atkins, and that was seconded by Vice President Mario Chavez. No discussion? Please vote. Oh, sorry.
I'm on the board.
I'm sorry. We got Commissioner Matthew Lynn.
Simply, I really just want to submit this to Mr. Hopkins to be put in the minutes, and what this is copies of Resolution 71 of 2017, as well as Resolution 80 of 2017, and the Caddo Parish proposed internal audit process submitted October 2017 for 2018 and subsequent years. And so I want this handed in, and I'd like for y'all to take note that the first on the schedule of audits submitted October 2017 is that the relationship between administration and legal, the commission and the clerk. One of the reasons why I think that that is so important is that this audit process is in our charter for us to do, and we have not done it until just this last year. And so I think it's very possible that there are other things in the charter that the Caddo Parish Commission, that the 12 of us are obligated to do, that has slipped under the radar. When I go back and I look at the minutes of the meetings when this was brought to legal's attention, that it was something that slipped under the radar. It was something that we had been doing business the way we had been doing business for so long. And so, not that this administration was doing anything technically wrong, but they had inherited a system that was not following our charter. The fact that I pushed so hard for the first aspects of the audit to be admin, legal, commission, and the clerk was to correct any of those. If you look on the electronic process of what was sent to us as far as the priorities of the audits that would follow, being that granted that non-governmental appropriation was first on the list, you will see that what we had proposed to be first on the list was administration and legal, commission and clerk are not even on there. So we're not even scheduled to do any of these on the current audited list that the auditing company has proposed to all of us, that we brought up as a problem when we initiated this process, and the simple fact that we weren't following our charter before we actually began this process. And so with that, I'm going to turn this over to our clerk for publishing. If any commissioners have any questions, or any future commissioners, I'm a lame duck. Several of us are lame ducks. Of course, granted, all of us are up for re-election. Anybody running for this office wants to look at this, they're certainly welcome to look at this, but I think that it's very possible that there is a breakdown in communication as far as what the charter actually says and what we do in some cases. And it is proven by the fact that this audit process that we are in right now proposing this, the first time we did it was with Animal Services, and the charter mandates that we do this every year, but last year was the first year that it was ever done. With that, I'm going to hand this to the clerk. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Commissioner Lynn. Chair of the Finance Committee, Commissioner John Atkins.
Thank you, Madam President. I respect Matthew Lynn's concerns on this matter. However, I might say, or in my view, the commission is not giving away its obligation to have these audit reviews conducted by bringing a third party in to order the manner in which we actually do the audits. I think it's important to have a third party CPA firm driving that process as opposed to the commission driving that process, because theoretically the commission may have some agenda it wants to push, or some subset of commissioners may have some agenda it wants to push. I think it's much more appropriate to have a third party working with the commission and the administration to help devise and recommend an order for audit. So I think we're going through the proper path here, with all due respect to Commissioner Lynn. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Atkins. Commissioner Stephen Jackson.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I just want to commend Commissioner Lynn for bringing the oversight that was taking place to our attention. And I want to commend Parish administration for being open and acceptable to it. I think there was a thought that there would be some resistance to it. I think some progress is better than no progress at this point. And so, as Commissioner Lynn pointed out, this wasn't something that this administration intentionally did. This was something that was inherited, and not submitting a plan every year was an oversight that just wasn't happening, and we're doing that. And so I appreciate Dr. Wilson for doing that. But thank you, Commissioner Lynn, for bringing it to our attention and bringing it to the administration's attention that this is the process that we should be going through. And so it's part of the process. And as I appreciated what we established on Monday is that this process can be changed when it's presented to us. Is that correct? And so there's always room for improvement or improving the process or fine-tuning the process. But I'm just glad that we have a process in place now. So thanks to both of you all, and hopefully one day I'll get y'all to sit and hold hands with each other.
I'll hold hands with them right now.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson.
Before you get off
Wilson.
the committee.
Yes, Commissioner, this was for a point, Commissioner. This was a point of historical clarification. Prior to my tenure as administrator, my predecessors were utilizing in-house CPA capabilities to save money, to do those audits of those parts of the functions that we thought that needed to be done. And what was missing was bringing that plan to this body for its approval. So subsequently, we realized that, and what we did was ask for independent audit. Coming on the heels of the independent audit, Commissioner Lynn raised this issue about getting it done consistently by me bringing the plan to you all and doing it by a third distributed party. So that's the kind of historical perspective of it. Because, there was the money saved at first, but now we had the funds to spend the money, so we all in favor of that. We don't have anything to hide, and we appreciate the transparency of government.
Say Dr. Wilson.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. All right. I see no one else. Please vote. And that passes 11-0. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Next, we have communiques and committee reports.
I see none. I just,
Hello.
oh, okay. I'm quick. Let's go. I just wanted to say congratulations again to the 57 employees who were honored at the Employee Appreciation Award luncheon on Friday before last. There was a great job by our very own Randy Lucky. Did a great job in hosting that event. The celebration was a successful endeavor, and we again wish them all the best and pray that they continue to do a great job. Okay, we have 2 on the board. Vice President Chavez.
Thank you, President. Guys, this Saturday, February the 9th, at 8 a.m., we're going to do another Southern Hills cleanup. This one's going to be pretty awesome. We have Rhino Coffee sponsoring the event and fueling the caffeine, and Southern Made sponsoring the event and giving out the sugar to the kids. So you guys show up. The infamous David Cox, our old commissioner, will be there to help and pick up trash. The teams that we have coming are Southwood High School students, Pathway students, Boys to Men Mentor group is coming, and also Job Corps. So thank you for all those groups coming out. I anticipate us having about 100 people showing up. So thanks for the Tim Weaver, I don't know where you're at, but upstairs, Ken Ward, all you guys over there that helped us get some maps together, and so that we can be very organized in our endeavor. Moving along, next week, Wednesday, February the 13th at 9:30 in the morning at the downtown airport. Thanks to Dr. Wilson of Parish for giving us an American flag, and Lieutenant Billy Nungesser sent us a Louisiana flag. There was not a flag flying at the downtown airport, so thanks to the Southwood High School ROTC students, they will show up at 9:30 and do the ceremony, and we'll raise the flag and give it the honor that it deserves, as well as Senator Gaddy will show up to give a speech on the American flag. Anyone welcome to come. I'd love you guys to be there and be present. That's all, President.
When did you say the cleanup was?
The cleanup is this Saturday from 8 a.m. to noon, and all kids are invited. If you have young kids, you just want to get them to show up and just teach them the importance of starting young and cleaning up our city. We're going to take our 4-year-old out there and just let them see that it's a community thing. Last thing, thanks Lamar for putting out billboards for us, letting the community know that, hey, be wary of the people volunteering and walking in the streets. And they'll also be wearing a safety road guard vest too, so that no accidents happen. Thanks, President.
Okay, Vice President Chavez. I heard that Shreveport had a flag. Will they also be flying the flag at your event?
I hope they put one at the airport.
Well, I heard that Shreveport has a flag. You might want to investigate that.
The flagpole may not be tall enough for 3 flags.
Okay, our board is not working. That is true, Dr. Wilson?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay, I heard that. Vice President Chavez, you've already spoken. If you want to get on the board, I think the board is working, but I'm just not. Okay, now it's working. I know the next one is Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson. Will you get back in the queue? It's working again.
All right. Thank you, Madam President.
Commissioner
Two things
Jackson,
I want
come forward,
to
please.
bring up. First is I'm glad that we was able to get In We Trust seal, which is on the wall,
Yes.
so everyone can look at that. See that is up. Second one is that on February the 14th, our very own Stormy Gage Watts will become the president of the Black Caucus of the Police Jury Association for 2019.
Thank you.
So that would be a good Valentine present for her.
Thank you.
As we bring that position back to Shreveport. It's been here in 2017 and now again in 2019.
Yes.
One thing too, I think that we need to get with the city to work on our equipment. So when people have videos that you can actually hear, because we barely could hear it here, and I know if someone was streaming it, they couldn't hear it as well. The other thing is I heard, which a little perplexed about, but it is what it is. We have some commissioners that now think that they're contractors and adjusters. We can always reach out to people in the community to help to do this. I mean, if someone says that, well, can you look at some of this? Someone will volunteer that service to do that instead of us taking it upon ourselves to say that we feel that that's wrong, we feel that that's overpriced. But if we get the professionals' input, then we won't have to say that we feel, we can say that we know. So I just think in the future, let's get some input from people who actually live in that particular field to be able to do that instead of being opinionated about it. Because, we're here to help all citizens of Caddo, not just one sector, but all of them. And to basically be opinionated on some and non-opinionated on others, it's not what we should be doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson. Commissioner Stephen Jackson.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. February 19th, 2019, Cherokee Park, Mamie Hills Park Advisory Committee will have a neighborhood association meeting. Dr. Wilson, I'll get with you to see what groups or agencies we need to reach out to for that event. I'm the presenter for that meeting, so probably will need to have some parish staff. Definitely want to try to reach out to Ali from the levy board. Is that the levy board?
Yes.
So we already know that issue, and whatever historical data, Donna, Henry, whatever we have on that, because I know that became a contentious issue at one point about those ditches. So whatever we need to get up to speed on that, and be prepared to speak on that, because I know that's going to be a topic there. So that'll be February 19th, 2019 at 6 o'clock p.m. At Mamie Hicks Park. Also, would like to say again, thank you to the parish administration and Kevin Lawrence in facilities and maintenance for helping out with our first ever E. Edward Jones Housing Trust Fund, NACA, Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America, first time home ownership series. Over 200 participants, 6 from out of town, and so we're thankful for that. We're starting to see individuals take ownership of their neighborhoods. We know when we have communities of homeowners, they tend to, nothing's wrong with the renting, but when we give individuals an opportunity to access wealth through ownership, that's a great thing. We had a great kickoff to our Black History Month film series on Tuesday with, I think the showing was If Bill Street Could Talk, and I saw a couple of parish employees out. So if the commissioners can get a chance to come by, participate, be recognized, it sold out. She had a couple of people who had never been to Robinson Film Center, and was impressed that we have a local art house here, theater here. And even saw John Sell's name on the thing as a sponsor. Almost ran me out of there. Just playing, John. But it was a good. It is a good jewel that we have in this committee. John, no, I'm just joking. But let's support those activities that we have throughout the month. The parish is a sponsor and helping to sponsor, so please come out. Megan has been very helpful, so thanks to you and Barrelly for help coordinating that process. And that's it for me, Madam President. Oh, I'm NGO, whoever is chairing the NGO Finance Committee. Okay, because I know I had something that was remanded to that committee, Madam Chairwoman, and so we're trying to get that going, as well as policies and procedures. I don't know who's chairing that committee.
That is currently scheduled to meet on 2 o'clock on the 21st.
Okay, all right then, thank you. So that concludes for me, and I'll be on the lookout for you, Todd. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, sir. I have 2 quick communiques. On February 19th at 1:30 p.m., the Juvenile Justice Committee will meet here in our back conference room. If you're on the Juvenile Justice Committee at 1:30 p.m. on Tuesday, February 19th. That Monday is President's Day, so we'll be meeting on that Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. On February 21st at 10:30 a.m., the Airport Park Community Center will host its Black History program. Yours truly will be the keynote speaker. It's free and open to the public, and you are invited. That is February the 21st. That's Thursday at 10:30 a.m. That's it for me, Mr. Todd.
Next, we have citizen comments, late arrivals.
Okay, I have 2. I have Mr. Mike Basada. Please come up, Mr. Basada. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. How are you today?
I'm very good. How about you?
Good. Go ahead.
Mike Busada. I'm with Butler Snow. I manage the Shreveport office here. And I just wanted to say thank you for approving the resolution, number 8, to refund the bonds for the Pine Hill Water District. I know bonds aren't a very exciting thing, but to me, this is very exciting because I think it represents a great opportunity that we'll continue to have in Caddo Parish and throughout North Louisiana. 10 years ago, when I started practicing law at Adams and Reese, as a bond attorney, I realized that there were no bond attorneys listed in the Red Book in North Louisiana and Northwest Louisiana. And so as we were doing projects in Lafayette and Baton Rouge and New Orleans and Lake Charles and doing all these innovative things with bond financing, economic development, TIFs, pilots, opportunities, well, not opportunity zones, that's new, but we weren't doing as much of that up here. And so when I moved back to work with my family, I always wanted to convince a national law firm with the resources to come here and open an office here, invest in Caddo Parish, invest in North Louisiana. And when that opportunity arose last year, I was very excited about it. And Butler Snow has committed to investing here, to being here, and to keeping the money that we generate here to support our parish in North Louisiana. So I'm very excited about this one opportunity where we got to save some ratepayers some money, and I think this is just the beginning, and so I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Basada.
Thank you.
Our next card is from Mrs. Irma D. Rogers.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mrs.
Madam
Rogers.
President
Welcome.
Stormy Gage Watts.
Thank you.
Vice President Mario Chavez. All of other commissioners, my commissioner, Mr. Johnson. Don't have my notes with me this time, but I know basically what we have done. Come today simply to speak and say thank you for your appropriations to our organization, Martin Luther King Community Development Corporation. This past year, for primarily with our outreach programs, Thanksgiving, we moved. We normally would go to Allendale for the last few years, say last 3 years, and we would help in that neighborhood. This year we went to Queensboro to try to help in that neighborhood. So more than 125 turkey dinners we gave out in November. In December, we had more than 41 families, more than 80 children, 14 senior citizens who received the pre-cooked meals. Our children, what we normally do is we don't buy a lot of toys. These are low to moderate income individuals. So we provide underwear, socks, hats. Each child gets a coat or jacket, those kinds of things. This funding comes from this organization. So we like to pause. Wanted to come last month, but I was still under the weather with my knee. But we like to pause and say thank you for what you do for us to help in our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Rogers. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
We have no other items
Motion
on
to
the
adjourn.
agenda.
So moved. Meeting is adjourned.